guys, I wanted to come to you today with my March books that I read, the review of it. I know that I am a month behind. I have my March right here and I have my April right here. I read 8 books in March and 7 in April. But I wanted to let you know what I read and give you a little update on what I thought of the books that I did read. So the first book that I read, I just picked it up out of my stack of books that I had. I hadn't gone out and bought any books yet. This was at the beginning, and yes, since then I have gone nuts. And I will do a book haul on some of the new ones that I have purchased. But this one I got from the dollar store several years ago, and it's called Bonjour Kale, and it is about a lady who, she and her husband were living in New York City, and her husband got transferred from the New York office to the Paris office. She had been she grew up with her mother, and they grew kale all their life, and she loved kale. And so when she went to Paris, Paris didn't have kale anywhere. She couldn't find it. They didn't even know what the word was for it. And one of the things that I found in this book was back in the 80s, the place that bought the most kale was Pizza Hut. And I can think back to the Pizza Hut that I went to in the 80s, and I remember it around the salad bar. And that's what they did with it, was put it around the salad bars. And I thought that was an interesting thing. But it's not just about kale. That's a big part of it, but it's talking about how she integrated into her life in Paris, with expats and with getting to know new people, and then how, trying to figure out kale. Then she got it in restaurants. It became a big thing over there, and it was a really cute, interesting story. So I gave it 3.5. I thought it was good. It was a dollar store book. I spent $1 because this was when Dollar Tree was $1. And so I got a really good book, and it does have some recipes in here. So, I got a really good book for $1, I think. So, love that. And I have at least one more in here. I started reading the series, what is it? The Rose Harbor, I think that's the Rose Harbor series by Debbie Mccumber, The Inn at the Rose Harbor. And this lady, she just lost her husband that she'd been married to like maybe 6 months in the war, and she got an inheritance, a life inheritance from him, and she bought this inn that was on an island, kind of like an island or something in Seattle, around Seattle somewhere. Anyways, she had her first 2 visitors. The first one come back. He had a really rough relationship with his stepfather, and he was, one of his friends called him and told him that his stepfather was not going to make it much longer and he needed to come up there. And then also there was a girl that came back for her brother's wedding, and something really bad happened while the last time that she had been home, and she had left. So and she had went to Florida, just as far away as she could go. So this was a really good book. I liked it. She's a really good author. I've never read anything of hers, so I now have the whole series. I went on eBay, I think it was, and I purchased the whole series. I just did Beauty Empty, so I have cat hair on me. So I really like this. I gave this 4 stars because I really like this. I really hate giving things stars because I really don't know what I'm doing on that. But it was a good book, and I am going to go on and read the other ones. So I did that. This one is from the dollar store, and it's called Which Way is Home by Maria Kaley. I'm not really sure. And this is about her, I think her grandmother. And it's a riveting story of a young girl forced to flee her country in the aftermath of World War II. And it shows how her and her mother and her sister, their father had escaped out of the country already, but they were escaping, and it was really neat to see all of the things that, all of the signs that if the people they needed to connect with, those people, if they saw those signs, they would know to help them. And there's one person that tried to get them to go on the wrong path, and somehow they took the wrong path, and they actually went the right way, and they met up with some American GIs, and they got them home safely, or got them to a place safely, and they were able to meet up with her husband, and the family was able to get back together. But I don't think they were ever able to go back to their home, and I can't remember where. Czechoslovakia is where they were at, and they were trying to get to Paris, I think, and it was France or something they were trying to get back to. So this was a really good book. I would give this 4 stars. It was very interesting. It was a short book, and it was from the dollar store, and I enjoyed it again. So there's only been one book from the dollar store that I have not liked, and that was The Grand Tour. That was one of the first books that I read this year, and it was awful. So the next book I read was Janet Ivanovic and Dorian Kaley, Love in a Nutshell. This was a super cute book. It was about a guy. There's a girl, she needs a job. Her husband has left her. She's been fired from her job as a magazine editor for some crazy reasons. Anyway, she goes back to where their summer home used to be, and she's trying to save the summer home. The parents want to get rid of it, but she wants it to kind of make it as a an inn, kind of like what's in this movie. And so she has to get a job, and she gets a job with this guy, Mccumber, and he owns a bar, restaurant type deal in town and some other things. And so she goes in, she was working for another guy, and things just keep happening to her. So she went and basically told him that he was hiring her. So he's like, okay, fine, I'll hire you if you can figure out why people, things keep happening around here. And so she does. And so it's really cute. The only thing that I don't like about this is the details wrapped up way too there. You get all these details, and then you get 2 pages of the wrapped up romance when it wraps up in the end. So that's one of the things that I really don't like about this book, the only thing. So I would give this a 4.5 because I really liked it. The characters were really fun. It was very easy to read, very easy, just straightforward. So I really liked it, and it's Janet Ivanovic, so it's a really good book. This one, I gave it, this one was a 5-star book. I absolutely love this, and this is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I know Meg's Makeup 8, they had a book of the month that they read this. I think they loved it. I don't know what. I watched her deal, but it's been a while now. But I think the reason why I love this book and a lot of other people probably didn't like the book is because this is their genre of the mystery thriller. And my genre has never been in the mystery thriller. So they shock me when things happen. I'm like, what? So I think for me, I like that. And I've made it a pact to myself to try out different genres and not just get into one genre where I will start to see the thing. I'm sure eventually I will start to see things. I'm like, oh, that's going to happen. This is going to happen. But for me, I did not have that problem with this book. Halfway through the book, something very surprising shows up, and then, I mean, right up until the very end, I was shocked. I was like, okay, I didn't see any of that coming. So for me, I loved it, and this is my second 5-star for the year, behind Trevor Noah's Born a Crime that I had in my last one. This one, I got one of the books. This is a series, and I got one of the books at a used bookstore here, and so I had to go get all of them. So I started with the first one, and it's called Cat Got Your Diamonds, and it's a cozy mystery is what they're called. There's 4 books in this, and it's by Julie Chase. And there is some, she has a pet store, like an organic pet store that she makes things. She makes costumes and things for animals. This is set in New Orleans. There is a police officer who is ex-military. A murder happens outside of her shop, and she was the one that called the police when there was a guy attacking her. When the police got there, the guy was dead. She had all of her things, she had dropped him, and there were no other fingerprints. So they had to try to figure out, and someone kept breaking into her shop, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. So it was a really cute book. I was really happy that I did purchase the other books because my watch is telling me to stand. It was just a fun read. So I like this. There were some funny characters in it, and I will be happy to read the next 3 that I have. I don't know if there'll be more after that, but at least I've got the next 3. So I gave this one a 4-star because it was fun. I liked the characters. It was just easy to read. It was a cozy read. You know, some of it you could see it coming, some of it you couldn't, so whatever. This book is by Janet Ivanovic and Dorian Kaley. And I liked the first one. Freaking hated this book. And for me to say that I do not like a Janet Ivanovic book is saying something. But this book is called The Husband List. And it is about this is a historic romance is what this is. From way back. So this is the first one. I don't know if Janet Ivanovic has ever written any like this, but this is the first one I know of. I know of her Stephanie Plum series most. And then I read that first one. But this one is set back in a historical where your parents set you up with, you know, you have these balls of the season and your parents set you up with. And this mother. So first off, the daughter is a lot like a Stephanie Plum character. She cannot follow a rule to save her life. She's been to I don't know how many of the balls, and every year she manages to get out of it. And the mother is always telling her what she can eat, what she can't eat, what she has to wear. Her mother is just constantly sitting there, this. So they find out that this wealthy man is coming over from England, and her mother is bound and determined to get her into this marriage. She wants her to, you know, she'll be like a duchess or something. I can't remember what she was going to be if she married this guy. It doesn't say. But anyways, her mother sends her over on their father's yacht of the time. And since the brother gets hurt because of the suitor, that because he did something to his brother, he got hurt, the mother's still going to send her. So he sends his best friend to make sure they're going to be okay. And if it hadn't been for that, this would not have turned out well. And I was so freaking mad at this mother. She absolutely drove me nuts. Just constantly on this daughter. She had people watching out for her daughter, making sure she was doing this, and she was going to get married to this guy. And yeah, it could have turned out really bad. So I did not like this book. The mother, she ticked me off so bad in this book. It was not funny. So this one, I gave it a 2-star because I didn't like the book at all. It was one of the worst I've ever read of Janet Ivanovic. This book is Julia's Chocolates by Kathy Lamb. This one, if you decide to read this book, please, please, please check out for the trigger warnings in this book. There are a lot. I have had this book for a long time and I thought it was going to be okay and I didn't think anything about it. I don't even remember reading the first part of it where she leaves her wedding dress in a tree in North Dakota. And I thought, oh, this will be funny. And there were parts of it that were funny. She leaves her wedding. She's going to her eccentric aunt's house to get away from her husband, or her husband-to-be that she was going to marry. It was an abusive relationship. Her childhood was not good. It was just not good at all. There was some kids in here that she helped by working in the library. But it was a good book. I would give this a 4-star. Again, this book, they wrapped it up at the very end, like the romance, 2 pages and, 2 or 3 pages and it's wrapped up. And I'm like, really? Here we go again. So, but I'm warning you, if you want to read this book, it is a very good book. But, some of the violence in it, it's just, watch the trigger warnings, read for the trigger warnings in this book, because there are several of them in there, and I don't want this to trigger anyone. So, but I did give this a 4-star because I did think it was a very good book. I just didn't like the way it was wrapped up. And then the last book that I read 3 Janet Ivanovic books. This one was good. Was this in this? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I picked this up on mistake. I only read 2. This was from last month's, so I picked that one up on mistake. So that we don't have to review because I reviewed that last month. So, probably my favorite book of the month by far was my 5-star, The Paris Apartment. Absolutely love this. Definitely getting out of my genre, out of my comfort zone of romances or cozy mysteries with Stephanie Plum series. Like that. The Debbie Mccumber, I love her books. I can't wait to get to read another one of those. These are really cute. And this one, I have picked up 2 more of her books. I'm hoping that there's not quite as much triggers as in that one. But yeah, if you can find some books at the dollar store, give them a try. I mean, nothing else for $1.25 now. You can give them to the Goodwill and send them on down. There's only one that I have not liked, and that was in the last one. So, and then I picked up these 2 of Janet Ivanovic's. I love this one I hated. So, just wanted to let you guys know what I did in March, and I will be shooting my April books and a haul. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, please do. I would love to have you here, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a good day. Bye.